Happy International Women's Day 2024. It has been very fascinating, I would say, listening to all the speakers this evening. Very distinct viewpoints, very insightful, I would say, and also very empowering in terms of the inspired comments and studies that have been quoted and all. So I wouldn't go very much into why is this significant, why women need to be treated equally. I think that's a given, that women should be treated equally, as should be every human being treated equally. And I'm a climate scientist, I'm an environmental activist. I believe every species should be treated equally, not just the humans. So going beyond humans itself. But I just want to dwell a little bit on the points that were made, and I really want to make the point that, of course, there were quite a bit of analysis by the esteemed speakers on how Islam provides the perfect ground for equality for women, and so does every other religion. The problem is not with any religion. All religions, if you look, it all depends on where you are looking and what you want to find. So, as some of the previous speakers talked about, interpretation of something that's in the Quran or in the Hindu religious texts or in the Christian texts or the Old Testament or the Bible or the Jewish texts and all. It all depends on what you're looking for and how bigoted you are, how horrible your thinking is, and then you find the worst things to interpret and use to your advantage because you come from a place of bigotry where you look at other human beings as lesser than you. So that's the problem. That's the bedrock of all our problems, not religion. We go find these things to use as tools in oppressing women. Women should be treated with respect and dignity, no questions about it. And it's not a third world problem, by the way. I was the head of the Human Rights Investigation Office of the UN with 1,000 staff 25 years ago in Bosnia, in post-war Bosnia. What we saw there was exactly the same that happens in every country, everywhere. Developed country, developing country, women are treated differently. Actually, in the developing world, women had the power to vote much before the developed world opened up voting rights for women. No, one could go on and on. I mean, you go back and look at Razia Sultana, 1236 AD. She was the first ruler of the Delhi Sultanate, first woman ruler. So, it depends on where you're looking for inspiration. There are all these data points and proof points for empowered women that have inspired people through their leadership, through their courage, through their tenacity in the face of the utmost of adversity. So what I would say is that women should not look upon themselves as any less from anybody, because that's the starting point. Because that's where you stand up and you're counted and you fight for yourself, what is right. Yes, of course, it's good to be expecting others to be nice to you, but there are occasions people are just not nice. It happens between men and women. It happens between, in India, if you say, it happens between castes. I don't think any religious text in India says that you should kill your girl child, but there are many parts of India where female infanticide is very strongly prevalent still. Honor killing still happens. Women are seen as property. So it's not like a country does this, or a religion does this, or a region does this, or a community does this. It's a common problem that it's a common problem that afflicts society at all levels in all countries around the world. So that is exactly why, from a male perspective, of course, men need to respect women, and we need to stop doing the terrible things that we have been doing for thousands of years to women. So that's a fact. But at the same time, women really need to stand up for their rights, and that's a very good starting point. And as you stand up for your rights, as you ask questions, Of course, there are families where you are never made to feel that you are a girl. I grew up in a family. My sisters were never made to feel that they're any different from us. And we were not told that, oh, you need to respect your sisters. We knew that we need to respect our sisters because they are as good as us and no different. But that's more an exception than the rule in many parts of the world. And that is why every time you see an injustice, every time you see you being treated unequally, you need to stand up and be counted. Now, in terms of safety, sexual violence is a reality. You can't sugarcoat it, how horrible it is, we know, and how miserable it feels if you are a woman to be treated that way. But at the same time, be careful, be safe, and work with the community to see where the challenges are so that you don't expose yourself to unnecessary dangers. Being brave is one thing, but exposing yourself to unnecessary danger is another thing, because it is very important to be safe while working with the community in creating safe communities and creating respect for women. And then lastly, I want to make the point of the economic case for why women need to be treated equally. Globally, women are as many as men across the planet. In some countries, the gender ratio might be a little less or a little more, but it's pretty much 50-50. We are 8 billion humans on the planet, roughly 4 billion women and 4 billion men. So any country or any community or any region that doesn't treat its women as equal people, I had an opportunity, there was about almost 20 years ago, I was the UN's disaster recovery coordinator for the tsunami. It was a $7 billion program that I was coordinating after the Boxing Day tsunami of 26 December 2004. And I had the opportunity of talking to Lee Kuan Yew, the founding Prime Minister of Singapore. And I asked him, I said, sir, what do you think was your most significant decision as the Prime Minister? And he said one thing and one thing alone: respecting women. He said, I traveled to Japan, I traveled to the Nordic countries, I went to different parts of the world. I came back and I told our parliamentarians and everybody else, we need to change every laws in Singapore so that women are treated equally, they are paid for equal pay for equal work, and that they have the same place in society as anyone else. And that is why Singapore is such a prosperous country. And it was such a moment of revelation for me. Of course, I have always respected women and treated women equally, but that doesn't mean much because it's one individual, or there are many people, I'm sure there are millions like me, but that's not what the society is. The society is a patriarchal society, steeped in culture that is self-defeating. And so when you look up to leaders like Lee Kuan Yew and other leaders, and of course in our region, we've had very powerful women leaders from Sri Lanka to India to Bangladesh, in Pakistan. We've had women leaders at different times. So there is that inspiration as well, that women can really rise to the top, either by virtue of circumstances or by virtue of their own abilities and hard work. And that's something to take inspiration from if you are a woman, and there's everything to celebrate on this very important day. As my previous speaker rightly mentioned, we should celebrate women every day, not just today. But then again, it's always good to have a special day when we remind ourselves that we need to treat women the same every day. Thank you.